So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about insulin resistance. Because with all of the new drugs that are being developed for diabetes, this has become a very interesting topic to try and understand better what causes insulin resistance. So, join me in this episode to discuss insulin resistance. Welcome to Healthy by George. I want you to know that this is for informational purposes only, and it should not be considered as medical advice, nor does it have anything related to my employer. So it's always best for you to check with your own medical provider before you do anything that I recommend or for any medical treatments. So please join me, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine George, and this is Healthy by George. Everyone calls me MC, so please call me MC. And if you don't mind, like and share this episode. It really means a lot to me because I really truly want to bring health information, share my experiences so that we all can become a better physical, healthy, well-being person in this world. So insulin resistance, what is that? And why has that become such a big deal? Well, it's a condition inside our bodies where the cells are no longer responsive to the effects of insulin. And that can lead to these elevated levels of insulin in your blood. And so why do we have insulin in the first place? It's a hormone that helps us make energy. It's from our food. It's derived from our food. We make sugars in our food. We have to have a process of making that available to us for using and expending in our metabolic system. So if something happens that makes our cells resistant to absorbing the insulin that we produce, then it creates this overabundance of glucose, insulin, in our bloodstream. And that's what leads to either a metabolic disorder or to diabetes, which is very, very, very challenging to treat. There are many side effects and problems that come with diabetes. It can be vision. It can be the peripheral nerves in your hands and feet. People hear often of people losing toes and having to amputate their legs because of lacking of blood flow to their arms and legs. And that's really the big thing about insulin resistance, is that it can be the beginning signs of becoming a diabetic. So let's talk a little bit about what is the issue around insulin resistance and why are you at risk? Well, I'm at risk because I've been an overweight person probably since my late teens. I think I started having a weight problem when I was 10. You know, I really had overabundance of growth at 10, which no one could understand. And because it was something that was complex, I developed an eating disorder, which is not great. So I have one of the primary problems for insulin resistance is being overweight. So losing, because I have so much fat tissue, that causes these kinds of elements that make they're called adipose or adipokines. I never remember how to say this, but it interferes. When you have excess fat, it creates these chemicals that interfere with your body absorbing insulin and using insulin appropriately. And so that's why being overweight contributes to your insulin resistance problem. Another problem is not moving enough during the day. A lifestyle that doesn't have, activities where you're getting out there, moving, walking, playing a game. I think people are playing, what is that? Something with a ball. It's not tennis, but it's pickleball. I think that's what the game is, pickleball. I don't know, pickleball. But tennis, ping pong, anything that'll get you outdoors, getting sunshine, getting your blood up and running. I think there's another practice called rucking, where you put some heavy weights on your back and you take a trail and walk up and down and have an exploration in the forest with a rucksack. Again, giving yourself the opportunity to grow stronger and healthier by moving. And that's what helps us get rid of insulin resistance. The third thing that's a problem is our diet. So our diet is really, really bad in so many ways. The diet that we have available to us in the United States is just despicable. We have a problem with pre-packaged foods that have so many ingredients that you can hardly measure them. There's like 10, 15 ingredients of preservatives, of too many salts, too many sugars, too many unknown things. And those things contribute to insulin resistance because our bodies are really made to eat natural food products, things that are not overly packaged or produced in a factory. It's just not made to do well with things that are highly chemical or highly processed. Yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's sometimes more inexpensive to buy things in packages, but it truly is not, at the end of the day, to our health. It isn't healthy. It isn't wise. And yet we all fall prey to this because, let's face it, life is fast and it's hard to keep up with trying to feed a family, trying to feed yourself. Trying to get organic, naturally produced, farm-raised nearby foods is expensive and challenging. And in some areas, which are called food deserts, you can't get it. It's not available even. So we really have to think more about our diet and how we can become a little better at making foods available that are healthier and less expensive. Because, we just can't go into the grocery stores and spend $100 for one bag of food. Also too, maybe we have to look at more plant-based types of meals. But even that can be overly processed if we're not careful and go to places where they're packaged and look at what's the content of each item that you're purchasing. The other problem with insulin resistance is sometimes there are genetics where people are more predisposed. But, to me, for your genetics to be expressing themselves, it sometimes comes with the environment. So you might have a genetical type of predisposition, but you are not probably helping yourself like me by being overweight. I don't exercise probably as much as I should. And so my lifestyle is not about moving enough. And so maybe with my father being diabetic, I have some sense of genetic predisposition. So if I don't offer an environment that somehow will keep those genetics being expressed, I can have some insulin resistance. As you get older, sometimes the phase that you don't have that sensitivity because you're declining. Your body is not working as effectively as maybe when you were younger. Also, too, maybe we're not eating the healthiest things as we get older. We're looking for simpler, more manageable types of meals, and so that's another contribution, and that can lead to a development of insulin resistance. We have hormonal imbalances, which I've struggled with. I don't think anyone diagnosed me with PCOS early enough. I wasn't diagnosed with PCOS until I was in my 50s. So hormonal imbalances are something that are very hard to diagnose. They sometimes can't be found out until you've been seeing many doctors, or you do have something like a pituitary problem, where it's very obvious that you're having challenges with your hormones. So that's another issue with what makes it, The final thing that I want to talk about, one of the final things is this chronic inflammation. So what is chronic inflammation in our bodies? Well, this is where, this whole complex of these issues, bad diet, not moving, being overweight, this can put up a system in your body that causes chronic inflammation. And you can possibly feel this in your joints. It can make you feel lethargic. It leads to these conditions of insulin resistance and a metabolic disorder. So chronic inflammation is quite complex. And we probably will talk about that in a further episode. Another issue that has come up, this sleep, is that many of us are not getting enough sleep every night. And I think, the medical field just has now become a little more aware and more appreciative of the fact that we need to have 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day. I think in the past, many of us were thinking, oh yeah, I'm really getting after it if I'm getting up at 5 in the morning and going out there and, working till late at night, 11, 12, and then going to sleep and getting 4 and 5 hours of sleep. We used to cheer those people on. And now we're starting to understand that that's really not a very healthy approach to a lifestyle that will offer you a reduction in chronic inflammation, and that those types of approaches can be disruptive to the balance of your hormones, your circadian rhythm. Your body is not really meant to get up before the sun. It's about getting up with the sun and going to sleep with the sun going down. That's really what we're about, but that's not how we live our lives. So we really have to look at, can we get better sleep? And we did talk about that in an earlier episode. And I'm going to probably continue to talk about sleep because I heard a wonderful lecture about it on Friday. So sleep is something that I'm very challenged by. I struggle going to bed early enough, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it in many ways, as I shared in a previous episode, and you should too. Really examine, are you going to bed at the same time every night? Are you working to try and get up every single day in the same time? Those are the things that are really simple changes that you can do every day. And this will help prevent, or if you do have insulin resistance, at least diminish your further development into diabetes or other chronic illnesses. So finally, my message to you is it doesn't hurt to get a wellness check every year. Talk to your doctor. Are you someone at risk for insulin resistance? Can you get a better understanding of maybe what your lifestyle is offering you for wellness and health and well-being? Are you under stress? Does that keep you up at night? Are there ways that you can help reduce stress? And we're going to talk about that in our next episode, where we're going to talk about meditation and the powers of meditation and mindfulness stress reduction. Those are two really powerful approaches that you can incorporate in your life easily. So I encourage you, really work with a physician that you can talk with, that you can understand your risk factors, your health and well-being, and make a plan. And I can't wait to talk to you in the next episode about mindfulness and meditation and how powerful those can be as tools to help you live a healthier life. So I'll see you again in this next episode with Healthy by George. And please, I'd love to hear your comments about insulin resistance. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.